Alrighty, yo. Alright. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing good? Excellent. Yes. And here we are in the studio here. But how is everybody doing today? Everybody good? I want to thank everyone who has been sending in their poetry and stuff. It has been banging. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And for those of you who do not, hello, Chill Baby. And again, we have JH and Shaylin and Tamara and Caitlin in the chat already. So thank you guys for being here. I'm still kind of trying to watch my stream connection. You've had no sleep. What's going on? Are there ramifications from the surgery from the dentist? All right. So I just want to throw in again, thank you for coming to this workshop. Workshops in the past have produced all of these lovely books of Poetic Anarchy poetry volumes from people just like you. And hopefully through this, you guys will have some stuff to want to put into the next book. And so, as we are looking at this, let's go over here and just realize how your mom's doing. Because we have 10 days left, and we are at 450 with 9 backers right now. So, gotta get that going. This is the final countdown. Regretting some life choices. 4 or 5 are grumpy as crap. Oh no. Well, we got that taken care of. So. I don't know. I could say something kind of profound right now. Let me figure this out. Well, without regret, we would never know how awesome the awesome things are. You know what I'm saying? So, if that makes you feel any better, hopefully it does. So, hopefully everyone here is super excited about the clickbaity title of this video, this stream, this workshop. Do you guys have any questions before I start getting into the nitties of gritties? Well, you guys think, and this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to try to be better with checking out the chat without getting sidetracked. So if you have questions as we're going, throw them in the chat, and hopefully I will dart over to those as they come in. All right. How am I doing? Well, that's awfully nice. I am doing swell. I'm feeling a lot better now that this has started. Anticipation always drives me crazy. So, yes. So this whole thing, how to write like Stephen King. It's not as clickbaity as you think, because we are actually going to be doing some Stephen King prompts, if you will, in a little bit here. But what I want to do right now is kind of talk about the importance of doing these like free writing poetry exercises, and why it's something that I think everybody should do, no matter what genre they are writing in. Okay, So some of you may be working on a novel. Some of you may be working on short stories. Some of you may be working on screenplays, and some of you might be, I don't know, working on poetry. But regardless of whatever it is you're working on, this is still super beneficial and super important. And if you recall, on my podcast a couple months ago, I had Jimmy on. And Jimmy might end up in here in a little bit. He's been here the last couple days, so maybe he'll show up here too. He was writing poetry about the characters in his book to help him kind of break through certain ideas, to help him in his outlining. And then in doing that, he ended up putting a lot of that stuff into the book as songs written by the characters in the book. So it's a pretty cool episode. If you haven't heard it yet, go check it out. But also Thomas, one of the Anarchy Crew peeps, he's been working on a novel, and one of the things that he's been doing that is just brilliant is he's been writing poems from the point of view of the characters in his story to try to flush them out and understand them a little bit more. It's fucking brilliant. Okay? So even if you're just writing these like little poems, like little, anywhere from like 4 lines to 16 line poems, but you're doing it looking at it from the point of view of a character in your story, this is huge, because you're going to start understanding that character so much more than you would if you were just doing like a 2-dimensional, this is this character and this is what this character does. We got a whirly. I don't know if you guys are going to hear this, and I don't know if I'm going to be hearing any more of it, but apparently the LA County teachers are on strike, and they were protesting this morning, right down at the end of the street right here. So, but I haven't heard anything because it started raining. So, I don't know. So it's been loud here and there. So anyway, if you are working on a novel, like, leave it in the comments in the chat there. And if you've done anything like this before, leave that in the chat too and let me know how that worked out, because it's a brilliant idea. So Thomas and Jimmy, you guys are awesome for doing that. But another thing to talk about here when it comes to poetry and the positives for it is that, and again, this is why I love it so much, is that I could do so many different things very, very quickly, you know. And Caitlin says that she's doing that with her novel. So that's awesome. But, like, I've always had a hard time genre jumping when I write books. And sometimes I'm inspired to do some sci-fi stuff. Sometimes I'm inspired to do some mystery stuff. Sometimes I'm inspired to do some, like, horror shit. But it's hard to build an audience, especially with the Amazon model that is pretty much the main way a self-published author can actually make it now. If you jump genres, if you do a lot of stuff like that, it is really difficult for you to gain any footing to be like a full-time writer. So with poetry, it's great because I can, like, scratch all those itches. I could do whatever I want whenever I want to about whatever I want quickly and get all that out of my system. So for me, it's great. Poetry is perfect for anybody who has a ton of shit going on. If your life is just chaos constantly, poetry's perfect because you don't need a lot of time for it. You could spend a lot of time on it if you want, but you don't need it. You can just go in, do something quick, and be done with it, you know? So if you have, like, any kind of, like, mental or social issues as well. So if you have, like, ADHD, poetry's perfect for you. You could get in and get out. If you have any kind of mania, like, mania helped me write a lot of the novels that I wrote. Like, I would write for like 14 hours straight kind of thing, and just like slam until like I couldn't even like focus anymore, you know what I'm saying? But like any kind of thing like that, like ADHD, any kind of mania, any kind of things like that, poetry is great because you could just go and go whenever you need to, stop when you need to, come in, do whatever you want. If you have a family, if you got a big family, if you have a family that depends on you a lot, this is great. You have a like 15 minutes here, you have 5 minutes here, you can get something down if you want to. If you have a high stress job, okay, if you like are like working almost 24/7 and like you don't have time to even think, you know, but you have time to drive from here to there to go to this thing, you have time to go to the bathroom, you have time to do all this stuff, you could be hitting little poems whenever you have those free little moments, you know, and that's super fucking healthy too, to get that stuff out in those little moments, you know. So these little short, quick, explosive bursts of creativity, it's great. And then for those of you who are working on bigger projects, but the poems you write are about those bigger projects, these little quick explosive bursts, these are like little lightning strikes, you know what I'm saying? So when you actually do sit down to write the bigger thing, you have all these little things that you could pull from, you know. It's a beautiful, amazing way to get stuff down and get it out of you. Because I don't know really how many people go through this or deal with this, but there's a lot of times when I'll have an idea for something, and if I don't get that out, it starts festering inside me. It's almost like an infection. It just gets worse and worse and worse if you don't take care of it. And it gets to the point where I can't focus on anything else. I can't think about anything else. And a lot of times, if you wait too long with it, there's so much there that when you try to get it out, it just all over the place and it starts to not make any sense. There are times when your body, your brain knows that it's time to get this out and put it down. And if you don't do that, if you don't listen to that, it's going to be messy when you pop that thing. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. So, let me check here real quick. What do we got going on? Okay, so stream's still going good. Okay, cool. And again, if you guys have any questions about any of the things I'm talking about, please leave it below. Any comments, leave them in the chat there. The reason why most of the time when I'm talking about writing poetry, I'm talking about doing it for you. Like getting to know you better, getting to know the things that make you tick, getting to the deep rooted things inside of you. Okay, now if you want to do this for your characters as well, that's awesome. Okay, and I totally want you to do that, but at the same time, do this for you as much as possible because it is helpful. Okay, when what's a good example? Like when people ask you how you're doing and you do the, oh, things are going okay, you know, could be better, can't complain, all of these like weird niceties. Okay, when you're writing poetry, you don't have to do that. you can spill. You could like just and bleed out. You know what I'm saying? And that is really, really important. So, let me see here. When we focus on our lives, the plus side there is, because a lot of times when I talk to people, they always say, I don't know what to write about. Like, I want to start writing this, I want to start writing that, but I just don't know. And I kind of have some ideas, but they're just not kind of clicking right now. I don't really have a whole lot together, and I just don't know. Even if you're writing fiction, a lot of the things that you're going to be writing about will mirror your own life, and you should be able to take inspiration from your life to write that fiction, or take inspiration from your life to write that poem. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that's great. Okay. So, because you know you better than anyone knows you, no one knows your life. No one knows your struggles. No one knows your successes like you do. Okay? So, whether you are writing fiction, or you are just wanting to sit down and write something, but you don't know what to write about, you are the perfect model of what to write about. You are your own muse. You are the thing that keeps it going. You're the thing that makes everything happen. You know what I'm saying? So look at your life. Look at your day. Look at the things that happened that were great. Look at the things that happened that drove you crazy. Look at those things and put that into some poems. If you're writing a book and you have a bunch of characters, take certain things about your life. Like, if like you have a lot of successes, that's one character. If you have a lot of pain and agony, that's another character. If you have I don't know, a great job, that's another character. You know what I'm saying? Like, break up the aspects of your life and sprinkle those things into your characters. But if you put all of it into all your characters are going to be exactly the same. But if you take aspects of your life and drop those into each character will be completely different and have its own life. And because we're all human and we all go through life and we all go through things, everyone reading your book will be able to relate to almost every character in your book, because everyone's had great days. Everyone's had bad days. Everyone's had successes. Everyone's had failures. Do you see what I'm saying? You could spread that shit out, and it works well. All right. So with all of that stuff said, what I'm really wanting us to do today, before we get into the Stephen King thing here, is all of us should kind of, I don't want you to like make a pledge and say, I'm going to do this. You know, you don't have to do anything like that. But it's really, really crucial to a creative person, to a creative spirit, to like a creative soul, to be able to, no matter what it is, big or small, every day, consciously and intentionally create something. Whether it is a poem, whether it is a short story, whether it is a piece of art, whether it's a drawing, whether it's just a beautiful plate of food, like put down beautifully, like with all the different colors of all the foods. You put things down and make that a piece of art. Or you're making a coffee that you've never had before, or a mixed drink that you've never had before, you know, or you change the way something looks in your living room. Like, you move the furniture around and try to like sculpt it into something that fits you better. You see what I'm saying? Every day you should be creating something, because it gets you into the mindset that you are a creator and your job, the thing you do, is creating art. You know? Hello, how you doing there? So, what I want you guys to do right now is think of different things that you can create every day and leave them down in the chat. Start giving each other ideas. Is it different outfits that you would never wear? But like, you know what? I really want to wear this peach shirt with these orange pants, you know? Like, whatever. Like, come up with some things. Drop them in the chat. What do you guys got? Give me some ideas here. A lot of you probably do create every day and you don't even give yourself the credit for it because you don't look at it as creation. You look at it as just the things you do every day. You know what I'm saying? So what do you guys got? Fashion is my creative outlet. That's awesome. So give me some examples here. Like when you are like daily, like what is the thing you think about? Like, oh, I cannot wait to accessorize. Like what is the thing that you dig? I cut my hair a lot. It's stress relieving and clears my head for ideas because I have to focus. That's pretty cool. Like coming up with different, like that's kind of what I did the other day. I just went in, I was feeling all like almost like suffocated, and so I just went and cut my hair and trimmed my beard. I write little poems in my notes app daily, and if I don't do it for a day, I really feel it. Tamara, same. I do the same thing. Working out is also a form of creativity. Working on sculpting my arms. That's really good. Let's see. If I'm not writing, painting, or playing music, I enjoy making sigils, decorating my altar. I practice secular witchcraft. I love doing my hair and makeup if I actually leave the house. Nice. I love combining my jewelry with my outfits. There you go. That's awesome. I make something per meal. Once a day I try something new. That's awesome. Yeah, this is all awesome shit. Oh my god, I totally have to like ask you about that. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. So every day, and now that we've like talked about this and this is all stuff we know we're doing, start keeping like a little like journal, like even if it's just like a list, like with the date. So like 3/22, and then write down what you created. You know, like it doesn't have to be crazy. You know, just do conscious creation. Like I cannot stress enough how important that is. All right. So, and since we're talking about this and creating bite-sized art is always like a fun little thing to do. And whether you can draw or you can't, whether you can paint or you can't, or just whatever, whatever medium you have, a fun thing to do to just keep your brain going. Like let's say you're gonna sit down and write. Before you start writing, just get like a little piece of paper, like a scrap of paper, and just doodle on the paper a little bit. Do some little swirls, some squigglies, you know, a tree, a cat, whatever. Draw whatever you think and just let it happen. Like don't think about it. Just do little somethings. Okay? And then get down onto the writing. A lot of times, and I think it's harder for people who are around computers all the time or on their phones all the time. It's hard to make the transition from like everyday life that we have, that we do things all the time, to you're creating now. Okay? So doing that little thing where you step aside, do a little doodle, and then come back, it almost like resets your brain. It like resets your palate, you know? It's kind of like if you're doing wine tasting, after every couple glasses of wine, you're going to need to like drink some coffee to like just like wipe all that crap off your tongue so you could get back to like tasting wine fresh. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we do need to do those kind of things. Oh my gosh. Don't we all want to find a functional vintage typewriter? Yeah, like I want to get one of those free write things. We've talked about that a bunch of times on here. But yeah, like typewriters are so fun. I just love the sound of a typewriter. Like the sound of a typewriter. And it might be because when I was little, I would hear people on typewriters, you know, like computers weren't everywhere yet. So, and I used to play on like my grandparents' typewriter and stuff like that. But yeah, the sound of a typewriter is just like, oh, it's so good. But yeah, so the idea of like recharging your brain, like resetting it. Okay, I'll let that one go there. You guys can have that. It's really, really important. So come up with little things that you can do to make that happen. Because especially if you are on your phone all day or you are on a computer all day anyway, the transition is really, really difficult. So the only thing you need to understand, really, is that creation is what you're here for. Creation is what you are supposed to be doing. Okay? You are a creator. And a writer is someone who writes. Okay? That's it. You are a writer. You are a creator. So now create and write. That's it. You are an artist. Make art. Okay? And I know it's easier said than done for a lot of us, especially when we feel like life is kind of crippling, you know. But there are little pockets of time. And tomorrow we're going to be talking a lot about time and time management and stuff like that. So hopefully that's worth it to everybody. And everybody needs that. Okay, so now we're going to get into the Stephen King thing here. And if anyone has any questions or comments again, throw them in the chat now before we get into this, because we are going to be writing here in a minute. And this is legit, guys. Legit stuff. Okay. I think it would add so much to the writing experience. Oh, a typewriter? Yeah. There's this awesome app that I used to have, and I keep talking about getting it again, and I forget. But there was this app. I think it's actually called Old Typewriter, but it turns like your computer keyboard into the sounds of a typewriter. So like when you type, it makes the typewriter noises. When you hit return, it does the carriage return, the ding kind of thing. It was so awesome, and I would just crank that, and I would turn it up so fucking loud and just be like, and it just sounded like a fucking machine gun. It was awesome. and I keep talking about getting it again. I need to just find it. There's a trial for it, and I think I've used it on every email address that I have. So now I actually have to pay for it like a chump. But that's okay. Alright. So, Stephen King. This is going to come as a huge shock to a lot of you. I don't like Stephen King very much. Okay. I think his novels are bloated, and for the most part, he's a paper salesman. He just sells big, giant stacks of paper. But his short stories are really good. I really enjoy his short fiction a lot. And he definitely is a fucking talented individual for real. When it comes to that, at least for me. But what we're going to be talking about is, I am trying to remember if it was in an interview or if it was in his on writing book. If it was in his on writing book, this is pretty much the only great piece of advice that was in his on writing book. Because the majority of that book is him just talking about stuff. And then every once in a while he'll throw in some writing tips or whatever. But this one was great. He said that a lot of times when he's out and about, I bought his on writing book, and it felt super biographical, and it was hard for me to get through. Maybe I need to pick it up again. No, like, I'm going to tell you right now what the main part of it was. But, like, I've talked about this before, and let me say what he said first. So, somebody asked him or something, like, how do you come up with your ideas? Like, how do you come up with all your stories and stuff like that? And he says, like, well, I see things outside and just out in the world there, and I look at something and I say, wouldn't it be funny if, and then he says something like whatever he thinks would be funny. And this is, I think, at the base core, the difference between a writer and a reader. Okay? Because a writer takes people on journeys. They create worlds and invite people into the worlds. And readers are just people who want to go on vacations. They want to go on trips. They want to go to all these different places, all these different worlds, and visit, and then tell their friends about the trip they went on, you know? Like, oh, let me tell you about when I went to Bermuda, you know? Like, whatever, okay? But this idea that you see something and you say to yourself, wouldn't it be funny if blankety blank blank blank, okay? So another way to look at this is like, are you guys familiar with The Truman Show? Did you guys see The Truman Show? Didn't really care for it, but the idea was great, okay? There's this guy who doesn't realize that everything in the world is just set up there for him to interact with, okay? It's the same kind of idea in the Kurt Vonnegut book, Breakfast of Champions, when they're talking about the book that Kilgore Trout wrote, called So Now It Can Be Told, where the creator of the universe came to this character and said, everyone here is a robot, and their whole purpose is to interact with you and see what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like the whole deal, okay? And the way Stephen King looks at life, he looks at life that way. he looks at life like everything out there is just inspiration built for him and him alone. And he can toy with it and figure out what he wants to do with it. Like I could say, oh, wouldn't it be funny if that car just rolled over and started doing somersaults down the hill? For no reason, just because the car wanted to do it. Not that the guy in the car wanted it to happen, but that the car wanted it to happen. You just come up with stuff. Like I have that poem about the dude who sat on the corner right here and laid a giant 3-foot egg that came out of his ass and like ripped him in half basically. And that I was watching it, and then the egg started hatching. Okay? Everything out there, everything around you, even in your house, is only there for you to interact with. It's only there to give you inspiration. Its whole purpose in existence is to give you something to write about. Okay? So, what I want you to do is right now look around where you're at. If you're in the office, if you're at home, if you're in the kitchen, if you're on a park bench, whatever it is right now, look around. Okay? Look around, get your eyes to lock on something. See something and lock your eyes on it. Okay, now the question is, wouldn't it be funny if, and then you fill in the blank. Okay? So, I have not seen that. But I told a funny joke to my friend. Like, my friend came over and he was like saying, he's like, oh man, I really want to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm like, why don't you just take your time? And he didn't get it. And it wasn't really that funny, but I started cracking up afterwards. Good times. Okay, so now, find that thing. We are going to spend about 5 minutes, because you don't need more than 5 minutes, because you guys are fucking pros now. You guys could blast things off like nobody's business, okay? Because you guys are the shit. So we are going to spend 5 minutes writing this thing. And we're going to come back. Okay? So get your paper, get your pen, open up a thing in your phone or on your computer, and write about that thing that wouldn't it be funny if. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. Alrighty, everybody. So hopefully that was freaking awesome. How was that? Did you guys dig that? Did you guys find something and make something funny happen? What did you guys do? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know what you did. Okay, so while you guys are letting me know what you did, let me give you some heads up here on a few things. If you dig this, if you dig the things we're doing right now, if you click the join button below this video, it will take you to the membership section where you can join the Anarchy Crew, where you could get over 100 videos like this, where we do little workshops, we do little lessons, you get little assignments, and you do a bunch of stuff. And we do weekly live streams on Fridays, usually. And there's going to be some more things that we're going to do coming up here soon, probably starting in April, that are new and going to be a lot of fun. So get in on that, and make sure if you are not subscribed, you hit the subscribe button, like the video so YouTube's algorithm can do what YouTube's algorithm does, and make sure that you get my new book, Winner Your Mom's Sawdoemee Prize for Poetry. 10 days left on the Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. All right. So let's see here. Caitlin says, a pencil that writes a story through a person's hand. I absolutely enjoy and get so much inspiration from the Anarchy Crew. Definitely encourage people to join. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. All right. Let's see. There was that, and there was that. Okay. So to give you a heads up on what's happening the next 2 days of this workshop. Tomorrow we're going to be going over time, and we're going to be going over simplicity. Okay? And we'll probably be talking a little bit about voice and a little bit about blood. Okay? So that should be really, really cool. But on Friday, you all of you, are going to write an entire book in one sitting. Okay? We're going to be doing the Endless Poem workshop on Friday, and it is going to be epic and huge. Okay? So, if you don't think that you could write a whole book in one little sitting, you're nuts. And I'm going to show you that you can do it, because you're the shit and you got this. Okay? So, it'll be loads of fun. And other than that, I'm pumped for Friday, as you should be. As you should be. It's going to be good. All right. I hope I can my rent so I don't have to dip from the Anarchy Crew next month. If not, I have really enjoyed myself, and everyone has been totally worth it. Oh, you too. But, like, you do you. Do what you gotta do. For reals. Alrighty. So, other than that, unless you guys have anything else you guys want to ask or talk about, I'm pretty much done here. And getting ready for tomorrow. So make sure you send me the poems that you guys did today. Like your wouldn't it be funny if stuff. Send those to me at ihatemattwall@gmail.com, so I can take a look at those. That's going to be good. Very noisy here. Very noisy. All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining me today. Type hard. And I will talk to all of you tomorrow. Okay? So take care, everybody.